It is no secret that the Vancouver Canucks have been struggling all year. We're 30 games into a 56-game season, 26 games to go, and we're going to go through and grade every single player from the Vancouver Canucks. We're going to go in alphabetical order here. Forwards, then defensemen, and then the goaltenders. And we're going to start with the Bs. That's Justin Bailey to start. He only played 3 games, doesn't have a point. We're putting him as an incomplete for now. But their first full-time player, Jay Beagle, has played all 30 games. He has 1 goal, 4 assists, and 5 points, running it on that 4th line. He is getting a C+ from me so far. He hasn't brought a ton to the table. He's been excellent in the face-off circle, fine on the penalty kill. Expectations-wise, he's probably meeting expectations, being a C+. Just nothing too exciting with Jay Beagle. All right, next on our list is Brock Boeser. Brock Boeser has been the Canucks' best player so far, and that's not really a hot take. He's got 14 goals and 15 assists for 29 points. He's been a consistent performer every night. He's been by far the best player on this team. He gets an A+ from me. He's been scoring goals at a really good rate. He's on pace for, pretty much a 40-goal season as it stands right now, so he has been excellent and definitely deserves the A+. Next on our list, we get down to the E, and that is LOUI ERIKSSON. He has only played 5 games this year. He's been a healthy scratch 25 times. In those 5 games, he has 1 assist. And for me, he's getting 2 grades on this one. The first is an incomplete because he's only played 5 games, but also he has earned those healthy scratches. So for me, he gets an F. LOUI ERIKSSON has not played well in those 5 games, and that's why he's only played those 5 games so far. Next on our list, Adam Gaudette has played 26 of the 30 games, 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points, and he has been better than that point total suggests. I think that he's been a pretty solid player. He's been a bit snake-bitten. He hasn't been able to score. His shooting percentage has been pretty low. But he did have that excellent goal against Montreal to tie the game with about 40 seconds left. That Cody Hodgson-esque rocket down the right side. He gets a B- for me for this season. JAYCE HOWRYLUK, 5 games played, no points. He's been fine. He's been probably about as expected, maybe a little quicker. But again, he's only played 5 games, so we're going to give him a B- for this one. Next on our list is Nils Hoglander. Probably has received the most game pucks from me in our 30 post-game recaps. He has been so far above expectations. He's a 40th overall pick from 2 years ago, 20-year-old player. You'd expect him to come in and just be solid, maybe chip in on the 3rd or 4th line. But from day one, he's been on the 2nd line with HORVAT and PEARSON, and he has been tenacious on pucks, a real battler. I've loved his game so far. We're going to give him an A. Not an A+. We're going to reserve that A+ for Brock Boeser, but definitely an A for Nils Hoglander. Sticking with the H's, the captain, Bo Horvat. He's been a little bit below expectations, I'd say, this year. We're going to give him a C+. He has 11 goals, 9 assists for 20 points in those 30 games. Point total's not terrible, on pace for something like a 55-point season or so. But coming off of that bubble performance last year and how he's been progressing and getting better every year, year after year, he did have a real big slump in sort of that February time span. So a C+ for Horvat. Still a respectable grade, but not up to those expectations that he's set for himself. Next on our list, Zack McEwen. 15 games, so he's been scratched for half of them. He has 1 goal and no assists, so only 1 point in 15 games. But man, I think he should be playing more, especially over a guy like Antoine Roussel, who we'll get to, of course. McEwen isn't really a playmaker. He's not a goal scorer, but he goes out there and he battles, and he's fun. He's more fun to watch than a guy like Roussel. Again, only 1 goal. We're going to give him a B-, but I think he has been sort of at those expectations that we set for him, and I do wish he got some more playing time. Next on our list is Mark MICHAELIS, NHL rookie, 25 years old. He's only played in 4 games, but he's brought some speed to the lineup, and I've actually been pretty impressed by him. Again, only 4 games. We'll give him an incomplete because we can't just rate someone off of 4 games. But honestly, he's probably been around a B, B- for me so far, and I've liked what he's brought to this team. Next on our list, the ever controversial JT Miller. And you look at the numbers. If you haven't been watching the Canucks, you look at the numbers, you say, okay, he's played 27 games. He has 7 goals, 18 assists, 25 points, almost a point per game. He's probably been excellent, right? Not necessarily. He has been good offensively. You know, he's 18 assists is nothing to scoff at. 7 goals to add on to that. And when he's on, he is on, and he has been a good player. But it's defensive gaffes that have been the real hindrance for JT Miller. Not just gaffes, but lack of enthusiasm, lack of effort has been the big killing blow for JT Miller. And this is one of those things, like, if JT Miller was on this year, he might have 35 points by now, right? He might be well over a point a game, and he could be the team's best player if he was performing up to his standard. Next on our list, Mott Girl Summer, baby. Tyler Mott, 15 games played, 5 goals, 1 assist. Unfortunately, he is hurt right now, but he has been pretty good. He's Tyler Mott. He goes out there. He's an excellent penalty killer. He's great on the 3rd line or the 4th line, wherever he ends up. I love Tyler Mott. I'm giving him a B for so far in this season. Next on our list is Tanner Pearson. 30 games played, so he's played in all 30 games, 5 goals, 4 assists for only 9 points. Tanner Pearson is a guy you expect to come in, 20 goals, 20 assists or so, and put up, 40 points, half a point a game, but he has been well below that this year with only 9 points in 30 games, and again, only 5 goals, on pace for something like 12 goals over an 82-game season. It's just not good enough for Tanner Pearson. He's a UFA this coming season. We've heard that Benning wants to re-sign him, although that number is going to have to be real low for a guy who looks like he just isn't all there this season. We're going to give him a C. Elias Pettersson, 26 games played, so he's out right now with an upper body injury, but 10 goals and 11 assists for 21 points in those 26 games. It has been a tale of 2 seasons for Elias Pettersson. A very slow start, took him a while to get off to the races, and if we were just looking at, if this was like a first, like the first 20% of a season grade, he might be getting something like a C minus. But since then, he's turned it around. He has been closer to himself. Hopefully this upper body injury doesn't hinder him for too long. We're going to give him a B minus for so far on the season, just because I'd say that the second half so far has been maybe like an A minus to a B plus. So I think that balances out pretty well. Antoine Roussel has played in all but 1 game, and in my opinion, it should be less. He has, in those 29 games, 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points. And to go along with that, he has something like 30 penalty minutes. He takes a ton of minor penalties. In my opinion, he's been a liability so far this season for the Vancouver Canucks. And for that reason, I'm giving him a D on our tier list. Brandon Sutter, elite goal scorer and clearly a hater of apples. He has 30 games played, 6 goals and only 1 assist for a total of 7 points. And 3 of those 6 goals came in a single game. So if you take that out of the equation here, that is only 4 points in 29 games for Brandon Sutter. Again, his job isn't to score goals, but when you're on the 3rd line, you'd like to get some secondary scoring. Good teams get goals from their 3rd line. That just hasn't happened for the Canucks this season. We're going to give Brandon Sutter a C. And rounding out our forwards, number 18, shotgun Jake Virtanen. Showcase Jake, 25 games played, 3 goals and no assists. 2 of those goals, of course, came in 1 game about a week ago. Jake has not been great this year. Up until last year, I was a Jake fan, and I had made this clear. I've always really liked Jake. Again, not really like Jake, but I always thought he was a little bit over-hounded on, especially when he was picked around guys like Dal Cole and Bennett. And everyone's like, oh, well, they could have had Nylander. It's like, yeah, but they could have had Dal Cole or Bennett as well. Either way, he has been not good this year. He's been a little better lately, starting to drive the net, playing a little bit better. But still, at the end of the day, we're giving him a D for the season. On to the defensemen, starting off JORDIE BENN. JORDIE BENN was kind of worrying coming into this year. They're paying $2 million for a guy who looked like he was going to be in and out of the lineup, especially with Olli Juolevi taking his place early on for a few games, but he has definitely turned the corner. He has 1 goal and 5 assists for 6 points so far this season, and I think JORDIE BENN has actually been a pretty good player. And just going off of expectations, I'm going to give him a B. I think he has outperformed what we thought he would do. And he is, a good player to have on that 3rd pairing. Next up, Jalen Chatfield played 9 games early on in the season, no points to show for it, and he didn't look great. Benning has been hyping up. You know, the old Chatfield and Brisebois are coming up, sort of trope that has come from Jim Benning for years now. Jalen Chatfield looked good in his first couple of games, had a couple of really bad mistakes, though, that led to goals and, in a couple of cases, losses, and he has not seen the ice since. So we're going to give him a C- on this season. Next on our list, the ageless wonder Alex Edler played 29 games so far this season, still looking for that 100th NHL goal. He has no goals and 6 assists so far on the season, and he's been fine. He's been taking a few more penalties than we like to see. We're going to give him a C so far. Travis Hamonic came in on a PTO at the start of the season, which was sort of just a formality, as everyone knew he was going to get signed to a 1-year deal, just sort of as a stopgap. And he's been fine. 0 goals, 2 assists for 2 points. He's been playing with Quinn Hughes a lot, and I think he's been fine. I'm going to give him a B-. Next up, Quinn Hughes, the most exciting player on the back end. 2 goals, 22 assists for 24 points. At one point led the NHL in points. Now he's just behind Jeff Petrie. He has been excellent offensively. His skating, his passing, his playmaking in general, finding open ice, finding guys to pass to, just keeping plays alive. There was a couple of games where he would be out on a shift with the 4th line, and it would look like a power play because he would get the puck and he'd just create open space, find an open man, the Canucks would retain possession. His downside has been, of course, in the defensive end. He is a -16 in 30 games. At one point, he was at almost like a -1 per game, but I think his defensive side play has improved in the last couple of weeks, while his offense has sort of dried up. So I'd say overall we're going to give him a B- for being an electric offensive player, a little bit of a liability on the back end, but it looks like it's something that, look, at the end of the day, he's still like 21, 22. I'm not too concerned about Quinn Hughes. Olli Juolevi played 15 games, has 1 goal, and got scratched right after getting that 1 goal. Juolevi's been good, in my opinion. Foot speed is an issue with Olli Juolevi. He struggles to keep up. He gets burned seemingly once per game, and that is an issue. But it's not really, what's he going to do, right? He's kind of slow. I think positionally he's been good. I think his passing has been good. I think he was actually a pretty solid player. And for me, I'm going to give him a B so far on this season. Tyler Myers, the big boy, 3 goals and 10 assists. He's played all 30 games for the Canucks. Penalties have been an issue. He has been known as Tyler Miners around the Canucks Twitter sphere. But honestly, I think he's been fine. He's made a couple of really nice plays. His poke checking is great. He has such a long stick, but again, that contract is looking to be a little bit scary. I'm going to give Tyler Myers a C+. Brogan Rafferty only played 1 game, so he's going to get an incomplete. Did have an assist in that 1 game, but he definitely needs more time in the AHL. And rounding off the defenseman, Nate Schmidt, acquired for a 3rd-round pick in the offseason, and he's been actually pretty good. And I know guys like Drance have been saying that he has been the Canucks' best defenseman as of yet this season, and I kind of agree. He got crushed by some really unlucky bounces early in the season. There were something like 3 goals that went off of him and into the net. And like that's something that would just kill someone's confidence, right? When you score on yourself, even if it's not intentional, it bounces off and it goes in. It kills your confidence, but he has been fine. He's a pretty good playmaker. He's been actually pretty solid defensively. And I'm going to give him a B so far on this season. Now we get to the goalies, and we've been going alphabetically the whole time, but we're actually going to flip this around. We're going to go with the backup, Braden Holtby, the bona fide backup. He has 4, 6, and 1 in those 11 games that he's played. He has a 3.56 goals against average and an .893 save percentage. And one of those things can be excused by, look, he was in net a lot in that huge losing streak for the Canucks back in February. But if we look at the advanced stats, you can start to see the whole picture. Braden Holtby is 55th in goals saved above expected. Goals saved above expected takes into account shot quality, shot location, and how many goals a team is expected to score over the course of a game based on how many shots they had, where they came from, and the quality of those chances. 55th in the NHL is not very good, considering there's only 31 starting goalies. He is right near the bottom of that list. He has allowed 5.16 more goals than expected, which means almost every other game he lets in one more goal than an average goalie normally would. So he's not been good. We're going to give him a D. But then Thatcher Demko, 8-10-1. Not a great record, but not a great team in front of him. A 287 goals against average, pretty respectable, especially when you're getting this many shots against you per game, and a 914 save percentage, which is quite good, above average. Average is usually around 910 in an NHL season. But again, we look at the advanced stats. Goals saved above expected is sort of the one that I like to look at. Thatcher Demko is third in the NHL with 6.97. So call it 7 flat goals saved above expected. So in those 19 games that Thatcher Demko has played, Demko has stopped 7 more goals than an average goalie would have. He gets an A. He has been excellent for the Canucks, especially in the last few weeks. He looks like he's really coming into form. Yes, he allowed 5 goals against Montreal, and he was still the best player on the ice for the Canucks that night. Thatcher Demko is by far the starting goalie and the goalie of the future for the Canucks. Now, overall, let's give the whole team a grade. Let's look at their record. They are 12-16-2, well out of the playoff race, something like a 6% chance of making the playoffs. They need to go on an unprecedented run, and if you want more information on that, click on this video up here on why the Canucks need to start selling, and that was like a week ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago. They need to start selling. At home, 8-7-2, on the road, 4-9. Overall, the Vancouver Canucks get a C-. They look like they're right back to their old form from the heart of the rebuild. This team doesn't look motivated. They were absolutely atrocious in February, and they are definitely performing below expectations. Most people had them at either 4th or 5th in the North Division, sort of right on that playoff bubble, and now they're looking like a lock for that 6th place spot. Anyway, let me know anything you disagree with in the comments below. I'm sure some of you have some strong opinions that might be different than mine, so I would love to hear them. I'll be answering some of your questions in those comments as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you click that button. I think it's like down here somewhere. Go click that button. We're almost at 1,000 subs, so it'd be great. And hit the like button. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. We'll be back again with another video tomorrow, and then we'll be back to our regular scheduled post-game recaps Saturday night against the Edmonton Oilers. Talk to you later.